All right, now, the second Trans Nzoia Governor, George Natembeya, described the state of the county as he found it upon his election as a cemetery. The governor further explained that he has his work already cut out. In an exclusive interview with KTN News, Natembeya listed cattle rustling among his areas of focus. Let's listen in.
He is the newly elected governor of Trans Nzoia County. He served for 26 years as a provincial administrator, and while at it, his name became synonymous with Mau Forest Reclamation and Reservation. Honorable George Natembeya, thank you for granting us this interview, and we'll dive right in. Trans Nzoia is a wealthy county, but it didn't quite perform in the 10 years of devolution, like say counties like Kakamega and Makueni. Why is that?
Thank you. Trans Nzoia, as you correctly put, is a very rich county. Those riches may not count for anything if the leadership doesn't have the knowledge, the commitment to harness those resources, those challenges. So for the last 10 years, devolution hasn't really worked for Trans Nzoia. We are lagging behind in all spheres, and that's why the current leadership and the people of Trans Nzoia believe that while others are doing the 11th year of devolution, actually we're starting. And I didn't know how bad things were until I entered office, and then I discovered that even basic systems, basic structures on how a government is configured are not there. Even the senior government officials do not have places where they can work, an office where you can sit and be comfortable and serve the people. We don't even have a county headquarters as we speak now. We use dilapidated facilities that were inherited from the defunct municipal council. So there's a lot to be done.
So then what is your plan to transform Trans Nzoia County into a model county?
Trans Nzoia is a crippled county, no doubt about it. Because even the officers we have, if you ask them where we were in 2013 when we began this devolution, they won't tell you. If you tell them where we are, they won't tell you. If you tell them where we are going the next 5 years, where are we supposed to be, they don't know. There's no strategic plan for Trans Nzoia. So we want to start doing a proper plan. We want to do a supplementary budget so that all those things that we promise our people and that are captured well in our manifesto are actually funded as quickly as possible. For me, the challenge is there. The county is in a very bad shape, but we have got the necessary experience and the competence to turn it around very quickly. I want to assure the people of Trans Nzoia that within 1 or 2 years, they should start seeing some good changes.
As a senior and experienced provincial administrator, what skills do you then bring to this job?
I bring, the people I used to serve as a provincial administrator, and the people I'm serving now as governor are the same. But of course, there are a bit of differences. As governor, you can say I'm going to construct a hospital, and you have the necessary resources to construct the hospital. You put it in budget and you construct it. In my former life, of course, you can have very good ideas, but somebody else above you thinks otherwise, and then you can become very frustrated. For now, for me here, there is no room for excuses. What I've promised, I believe I've got the necessary experience and the competence to deliver, and that's what I bring: the focus, the commitment, and I want to also change the mindset of our people. They should stop thinking local. They want to start thinking big, and again, have them focus on the people by actually realizing that serving one is just a privilege. It's not really your right, and that the fact that you're occupying that office does not make you lord over the people. That's what's happening now. The kind of relation we have between the people and the government officials is skewed in favor of government officials, to the extent that even people coming to seek service from government officials, like they come to beg, work on our wasiwasi. We want to change that so that the ordinary manager knows that actually the boss is the one who is paying the taxes that pay these people's salaries. And therefore, when they come to seek services from our government officials, it will be to demand, not basically to beg. What I'm trying to say is that I will not be the kind of person who is going to be misled, because I understand how government operates. You can't come with the usual ujanja, you know. You cannot misappropriate funds. Like now, we've got this problem of pending bills. And then you ask yourself, why pending bills? You know, you call this guy and you're asking them, what really happened? Because everything that you know, every contract we gave out was based on some budget. And the amount of money that comes from Nairobi, the equitable share of revenue, is known. The amount of money that we collect as local revenue is known. You are planning programs based on the money that you know is there. Why do you have pending bills? And somebody does a voucher, it goes through all the stages. At the point of payment, the control of budget approves payment, but then again somebody just misallocates the resources. Then I've got pending bills. It's lack of discipline.
So for the better part of your service to the government, you have been in uniform, 26 years to be precise. So then now you are dressed casually. How does it feel not being in uniform? And do you walk around armed?
The demands of the job, you know, when I was in uniform most of the time because of the areas where I was posted. Many of these areas had very serious security issues, and all the time you're out there, you know, coordinating a response to one particular incident of insecurity or another. And that's why it became synonymous with uniform. For now, Mimi Niraya, I'm dealing with one age out there. You know, you don't have to dress like that or be in suits all the time. No, you need to be casual. That's when now people even feel free to come to you and talk to you. There's a way people react to you when you're dressed in a suit and when you are dressed casually. You just see the obvious difference. So for me, I want to have that very, very free interaction with my people, because if you don't interact with the people, then you can't really know that there are problems.
Allow me to take you back a little bit. When you resigned to run for office, you say that you would never wear military uniform, and I quote, except under extraordinary circumstances. What would this be? If
today, if things go south, and the national government calls upon me to go and do certain things, I may do them, because I haven't forgotten how to fight crime, and you know, really we don't have strictly national government function, county government function. If you read the constitution, there's a lot of consultation. So even me, if things go south and I'm told Natembeya now come and take charge of security here, I'll do that gladly. I'll actually multitask. I'll be the governor and I'll do it gladly.
What did you learn about cattle rustling and illicit brew in your years as a provincial administrator?
Cattle rustling has changed. Initially, people used to think it's just a cultural thing, and that's what was associated with certain communities. But over the years, it has become commercial. The people who fund the cattle rustlers basically even operate from urban areas, from Nakuru, from Nairobi. They give them money, they facilitate the acquisition of firearms. Some of them are... It's been frustrating when you are sitting on a table discussing on how to eradicate cattle rustling, and the people you are sitting with, some of them are the ones that are promoting some of these activities. Many Kenyans do not know that over 70% of the meat, the beef that's consumed in Nairobi, is actually cattle that are stolen from majorly in the Rift Valley. One may wonder how you can transport stolen animals all the way from Kerio Valley to Nairobi without any police intervention on the road. And we've got roadblocks everywhere. It's a cartel. It's mafia-like. Everybody's on the take. So before they move animals from West Pokot and take them to Nairobi, they know who's on the road. You can make as much noise as you want. but the animals will go to Nairobi. That's what I've learned. And then of course the criminal justice system is also not very efficient. You know, you can arrest somebody, but because they have got money, they'll hire the best lawyer. So lastly, people think that's a very difficult thing to eliminate. It's a very simple thing. You can eliminate cattle rustling in 1 week. In 1 week. These are just civilians. Some of them actually were indisciplined officers who were sacked. They cannot mount any serious challenge against government security agencies.
Teenage pregnancies in Trans Nzoia have been on the rise. How do you intend to deal with this?
Cases are actually not on the rise. They have always been high. But we are focused on those areas of Narok, these pastoral areas where we think people marry young girls. But the situation here is worse. It's worse because, like in Trans Nzoia, there are girls who have never gone to any school. Not even ECD, they have never gone to a school. And therefore, these children are sometimes missed in the government statistics. What we want to do is because there's a problem of poverty and also kind of male chauvinism a bit. Because when a parent has got 2 children, a son and a daughter, and there are not sufficient resources, they'll prefer to take a boy to school. So we have got a challenge, and we're going to address it by ensuring that we improve people's living standards. They have some disposable income. People are living below the poverty line. We want to ensure that parents who are incapable of taking their kids to school, especially the bright ones, the government must come in and support.
You dealt with Mungiki years back. How do we then stop similar criminal gangs from taking root?
Just enforce the law. That's what we did. But my hope and prayer, because I've got institutions in the criminal justice system. You know, the other day I was seeing, in fact, I saw some officers from the CID being paraded. You know, when government forms such a unit, it's out of desperation. If our criminal justice system worked, then that will arrest somebody and you have got sufficient evidence, the file is taken to the DPP, he looks at the file on the value of evidence, and this person is taken to court, and the case is prosecuted, and the criminals are jailed. You will not require SSU. SSU, some of those units that the CID forms, even this government will form one. I can assure you, we can converge here again after 3 years. So the criminal, instead of criminalizing those guys, I saw them being paraded, is wrong. I'm saying as an outsider, this is as an insider. Those guys who are doing, they don't do anything. Because criminals are going to rule Kenya. Today, there is no single policeman who will find you being mugged here and he has got a firearm and even intervene. We have reduced our policemen to nothing. We fought Mungiki very firmly and we defeated Mungiki. And we went this other way that these people are condemning. I said the citizens want to cry, and I'm also crying. And that time, this is at powers. So I put my foot down, and Mungiki disappeared. Mungiki disappeared. Okay. And even now, people are very happy you can go home and see your mother without you leaving. Somebody comes and say, I'm sure he left you something. Bring money. The government is about enforcing the law. If the law enforcers become cowardly, then we have a problem. The government, and I want to challenge our president, because he's a young guy and he's very enthusiastic about transforming this country. We're going to support him. He must ensure that the new IG addresses the problem of cowardice in the police service. It's the single most challenging thing as we speak now. Those guys would rather go and harass women who buruchanga than face a cattle rustler. One cattle rustler can hold 20 GSU officers at ransom in their camp. One guy. But if you shoot a thug, IPO is there. You have to explain how you did this. Nobody wants to do those explanations. So you rather just keep quiet, you don't shoot anybody. Nobody will ask you why you do not shoot a thug. So how do you enforce the law? Actually, the bigger question is, why do you arm these police officers? There are police officers who left college 20 years ago and they have never fired a single bullet. Hata za kujipiga risasi.
What was the most remarkable thing about your first day in office as governor?
The most remarkable, actually it was an anticlimax, because I went to an office that looked like a cemetery, where no citizen used to come there. People used to think that the governor is God, but for me, I flung my doors open. I go to the office at 7. I leave when I've seen the last person, almost about 9 p.m. We want to demystify the office of the governor. Because once we demystify the office of the governor, then all these other offices up to the sub-county and ward levels will be demystified. That you go there and you are expecting this very organized, very structured place, because that's where but then you go there and you just find total Kenyeji. So the level of confusion and lack of structure and basically how the government looked, for me it was, I did not think it was that bad. So that was very remarkable for me. There was nothing positive about that place.
Some farmers in your county are beginning maize farming for sugarcane and other high-value export crops such as avocado. Who then will feed Kenya?
The farmer in Trans Nzoia and even in Bungoma is a person who's in a dilemma. People have been moving from one crop to another because of lack of returns. Like for maize, we need to have a guaranteed minimum return for farmers. That a farmer is assured that at the end of the year, once you harvest your crop, you're going to get 4,000 shillings for a 90 kilogram bag of maize. We wouldn't have this kuhangaika. But what we've said is that we want to go back to the olden days where we had extension officers, field officers, so that farming is done in a very modern way, and also ensure that our farmers get proper returns for their farming activities. We should be able to get markets for our farmers. Like now, we have got a glut of maize in Trans Nzoia, but there are some people in the Mandera who don't have food, or in Kitui who don't have food. How is it not possible for us to link the farmer with the market? Why do we allow the cartels, the brokers, to come between the farmer and the market?
Trans Nzoia is one of the most cosmopolitan counties in Kenya. Do you see tribal clashes flaring up again?
I don't think so. People fight not because there are so many of them in a particular county. People fight because sometimes the cake is very small. So they fight over that cake. It's small. The available resources are scarce. And therefore people gang up as communities and fight for the same, like to bake a bigger cake and distribute it fairly, so that you don't have to belong to a particular community for you to have access to your rights. For me, I want Trans Nzoia to be a very, very peaceful and very quiet county. If I have it my way, we are going to have our people very busy doing different things. Those who are in agriculture, they'll be in agriculture, that they're going to get returns. Those who are doing other businesses, we want to ensure that they have got proper markets. I don't want my people to continue selling their wares by the roadsides. So the markets that are under construction, we're going to complete them, and we're going to construct more. We want to put some money aside, even to provide seed capital. It's going to be properly administered and fairly, because of what the challenge of capital. Once our people are busy, they're making a living, and everybody feels they've got a stake, they've got something to lose. If there is a war, nobody will go that direction.
Some leaders have expressed hostility towards the provincial administration, saying that it runs counter to devolution. Do you think it should be scrapped?
Those who say that, and I've seen my colleagues even in the Council of Governors, I've had 2 or 3 of them talk about that. It's just ignorance. Because we have got 2 levels of government, the national government and the county government. The national government has chosen to structure its operation in that way to ensure that its services reach the common man. The national government, because even the national government operates within the counties. It does, isn't it? So if the national government said they are going to use chiefs and the SECs and DCCs and county commissioners and regional commissioners to discharge its mandate, national government mandate, because there's no single provincial national government administrative officer who has crossed the line. As far as I know, they strictly discharge national government functions as provided for in the Constitution. They coordinate national government functions. Never ever about government, the county government functions. But we've got some governors who don't want maybe to share the limelight, who want to be the only people there, they're governors. So they don't look at national government administrators as people who are there to discharge their functions. Of course, for me, I would think that like a county commissioner, the way they relate with the governors, it's a lot of improvement. We are not equal. I've been there. I've been in national administration, and now I'm in the county government. There is no day a governor can be equal to a county commissioner. Ndoto sana. But many county commissioners unnecessarily, want to prove that they are equal with the governor. They're not. A county commissioner, of course, is a public officer. A governor is a state officer. That alone creates a very big distinction. So I believe that the national government structure and the county government structure can work together in harmony without having a clash of egos. Like for me in Trans Nzoia, I'm a local guy here. My people have elected me, isn't it, as a governor? Why should somebody from Korea who is a county commissioner come and compete with me? Why? Just come do your job. Coordination government activities, let's work together. That is it. But want to show that maybe you are bigger than the governor, very useless things. They add no value to service delivery. They only, pollute the environment unnecessarily. Yeah, and yet the money that we serve, both as national government and county government, is the same. All they want is just government functions. And for me, I've told my officers in very strict terms that never ever chase mwananchi mwambie hii sio kazi ya county kwenda kwa national government. If you feel what the mwananchi is asking you is the responsibility of the national government, if it's a land matter and you feel it's supposed to be handled by a national government official, pick this person, peleka yeye kwa your office. Yeah, you mambo ya national government, the county government, go there and tell your colleague, this mama came and asked this, and I believe you're in a better position to deal with it. So we don't have unnecessary barriers. It's national government, county government. For me, that doesn't matter.
During the election period, 2 Rift Valley MPs swore to campaign against you. What was the genesis of your rift with them?
What are they? Who are they?
You know them.
Oh. Are they hypothetical figures? I was actually told. So for me, I didn't hear them say anything. I heard that they said something. This is who? Is it who? Kamket? And Morkome who? It was who?
What was the rift?
By the way, you'll be surprised. There is no personal difference between me and those guys. At all. Sometimes I think just people misunderstand others. But when I was RC in Rift Valley, I spent most of my time in Baringo, because in Baringo there are serious issues of insecurity. People have actually been displaced from their homes. And a place like Baringo East, that area that they call Tier T. Tier T is the remotest place in Kenya, and it's barely 3 hours drive from Nakuru. But you already there is a different world. There are no roads, there are no hospitals, there are no schools, there's nothing. The place is just remote. And some of these people had run-ins with them because they were arrested and charged with incitement. Not they feel that it's Natembeya who instigated all this. But sometimes when you are in conflict with the law, really you can blame other people, but when you should just be blaming yourself. Of course, the other guy again, we had a run with him when I was the county commissioner in Narok because of the issues of the MAU, a matter which the court has actually vindicated me. Three bench court has vindicated me, and again, as I said, it's just ego, for me and Murkomen, now the cabinet secretary. I think he came with an attitude, and I told him as much. because when you come and you are telling people that I hear somebody saying that the government is evicting people from the Mao, and I am the government and I'm not aware. Me, I thought I was the government. So that is, what caused that that kind of report. For me, that guy, we met him, we were cool. We don't fight. We don't. He knows he was doing his job. I was doing mine. But of course, they campaigned against me, and a bit of misled the people to vote the way they did. It's democracy. It's the way of democracy. You don't blame people for choosing to vote in a particular way. At the end of the day, when you win as governor, you're governor for everyone. For those who voted for you, those who did not vote for you, and for me, I'm going to provide service equally to everybody. But I told the people that Trans Nzoia for a long time has been managed politically by outside forces, either from Bungoma, from Uasin Gishu, from Elgeyo Marakwet. We want to stop all that, so that Trans Nzoia stands on its own as an independent county. We decide the kind of leadership that we want, and we decide how we are going to move forward. Trans Nzoia is a county of so many immigrants. People came from other areas and converted in Trans Nzoia. But they still have a tendency of imagining that because I came from Bungoma, you think so much about Bungoma than Trans Nzoia. You came from Elgeyo Marakwet, the same. Came from Uasin Gishu or Nandi, the same. We are saying, Trans Nzoia be like America, the land of opportunities, where people came from other areas because of these opportunities. Let us now tap talent, because every community has come with something they can contribute to the development of Trans Nzoia. We forget about listening to voices from elsewhere. They vote this particular way because the people of Bungoma are voting this particular way. Or because the Maragolds are voting, the Vika voting in this particular way, you in Trans Nzoia are voting this particular way. Let us look at what our problems are. Who is capable of dealing with this problem, regardless of community, or regardless of other voices from outside Trans Nzoia. That's where I had a bit of difference with those guys. Because I think they wanted communities that supposedly belong there to vote like that. But we are saying, no. Let us, as Trans Nzoia, be independent. Like a son who has come of age and he wants to marry. Give him the freedom to go and build his own dingira somewhere. Don't say just sit in your bedroom there. I gave you that bedroom and stay there with your wife. It doesn't work that way. Trans Nzoia now has come of age. It stands on its own. And the moment the people of Trans Nzoia now focus within Trans Nzoia, it's going to be the #1 county in Kenya. Because as you correctly put, it's cosmopolitan, everybody is here. And everybody has come with something. Why shouldn't we be #1 in Kenya?
How do you intend to support both large-scale and small-scale farmers in Trans Nzoia?
Small-scale farmers, of course, we are going to go the national government way. Already, His Excellency the President has given subsidy, and we want to thank him so much. As Trans Nzoia, if there's anything has done for us already, it's reducing the cost of fertilizer from almost 7,000 to 3,500. And we want even to ask for more. If it can come down a bit to 3,000, then as a county, you can reduce it further to about 2,500. But then guarantee that the farmer will be getting the 5,000 shillings per 9 kilogram bag. So that for the small-scale farmer, once we reduce the cost of inputs and ensure that he has got access to the market and ensure that he has got extension services, as I've said, he'll be sorted. Large-scale farmers in Trans Nzoia are basically well off. They don't have serious challenges. Many of the real serious large-scale farmers, maize farmers, actually do seed maize, and they've got a red market at Kenya seed. They're not doing very badly. The only thing, of course, they need, like everybody else, to improve the roads infrastructure. Our roads are terrible. Some of them coming from those large farms, you cannot use them during the rain season. And that's why we want to focus on some of those critical in infrastructure. And we want even the AFC to lend more to our farmers because they need capital. I want Trans Nzoia, maybe with Uasin Gishu, to go back to the old days where we were feeding the nation. We produce enough to feed the country. Now we are producing, but we still have a deficit. That was important for us to take care of the large-scale farmer, the small-scale farmer.
So what was your saddest moment as a provincial administrator?
There are very many. There are very many sad moments. When you are dealing with security, there are so many. I think one of them was when floods carried away an entire town in West Pokot, Marakwet, Bota, Chesogon area. It even carried away a police station, including all the firearms, and policemen were killed. And actually we were able to save One young girl, after 3 days in water, submerged completely in mud. That was sad. And you'll walk around, you'll pick. There was a lady who was actually expectant. She died. We picked the fetus. We didn't get the mother. After about 3 days, it was sad. And other very sad instances when our policemen were being killed by bandits. There's an officer who was shot in the head. Actually, it was reported he was dead. But when I went to Medihill, I found him there. The guy, he couldn't speak. But when he just saw me, he just began shedding tears. But in official government records, he was dead. 24-year-old. Of course, he didn't die, but he became an invalid completely.
And finally, tell us what makes you happy and your parting shot.
What makes me happy is when I see people happy because of me, because of what I've done for them. There's nothing as satisfying as that. And I've had very many occasions where somebody just travel all the way from Kerejo, just come and tell me, thanks. You came to a place, my son was a drunkard and he doesn't drink anymore because you talked to him. That kind of feedback just makes me happy.
So there you have it. We've had a conversation with the second governor of Trans Nzoia County, Honorable George Natembeya. We've spoke about issues around teenage pregnancies in Trans Nzoia, his administration, how he intends to fight corruption here in the government. And he's also spoken about inheriting rather crippled counties. So much work ahead for him. Thank you for having us, sir. And my name is Esther Diana. We are in Kitale, Trans Nzoia County.